Kelsey, hi there. Um, I wanted to thank you for your support and for your patience. I'm really happy to do this reading for you, and I'm glad that I finally have the time to. Everything's been so crazy. I hope you're doing all right. I think that the stuff that you were wanting some guidance on is really valid, and you made some awesome points. Just talking about being a little bit kind of tired of the line of work that you're in. I think that right now, especially with jobs and with everything going on, it's extra confusing. So I definitely wanted to try and get you some guidance about that. And then as far as the moving to Michigan thing and not really being sure if that's where you want to be, kind of missing home. And I felt a really big sense of nostalgia when I was pulling these cards for you. And so I've shuffled already, and I've laid out the cards, and I've taken some notes. I just like to try and get the energies together a little bit before I start recording a video so that I'm not all over the place completely. I also, focused on the energy of the person that you've been hooking up with and have been kind of seeing throughout this whole deal. I think it's perfectly fine and normal to, seek intimacy anytime, but especially in a time of isolation. Do I think that you should start a real, actual relationship with this person? I don't know. Maybe think about that a little more before jumping into that. But yeah, I'll just be honest. Tarot card readings are just about offering guidance and about offering insight. There aren't any specific answers that I can give you, but hopefully what I tell you in this reading will give you a little bit of just insight and a little bit of knowledge, deeper into the things that you've been thinking about. So I don't need to ramble on too terribly long about that. I'm having a little beer here, so cheers. And with that being said, I'll jump right into it. So we started your reading with the Queen of Pentacles. And the Queen of Pentacles is sort of this nurturing, caring homebody. And it tells me that you're someone that likes your security and that you're someone that likes a sense of stability. And when it comes to your finances, it feels like being the queen, the pentacles do represent kind of finances and sort of, that sort of sense of, like I said, stability and kind of monetary value and things like that. And so this tells me that you're probably in a pretty comfortable place financially, which I think is really good during this time, because I know a lot of people are not. But this card also tells me to take caution when leaping into things and when making big decisions. So with the sort of stuff that you have going on, I think it would be good right now to sort of start weighing your options, when you're thinking about what sort of career or what sort of job you might want to move into. Maybe just make a list and think about the cons and the pros of what it is you're doing now. And the same with thinking about moving back to the East Coast. Just kind of think about the pros and the cons of where you're at now and the pros and cons of going back and being with your family. I think, like you mentioned, your parents kind of being in this older state now, it's like, nobody lasts forever. So I think that going and being with them and spending time with them, it could definitely be the right thing for you right now. I live pretty far away from my family too, and I have a pull back to them all the time, and I know that eventually I will have to go and be with them. So if it really feels like if it's that time for you, then that's something you have to seriously consider. You mentioned that you moved to Michigan to be with someone. I think that's great. I've moved to plenty of places for others. But I think at the end of the day, where you're from and where your family is, I think that there's something really big to be said about, wanting to be back where you are from and wanting to be with your family And I think especially with everything that's going on, it's giving us a new perspective on family and on the people that we care about and the things that matter the most to us. So yeah, that card is sort of just a symbol of the fact that you really are a nurturing person and you really do care about your home and your family life. And so this card sort of tells me don't make any big decisions, of course, right away. Weigh your options. But also, it tells me that family is a very important aspect of your life and that being closer to them could be very beneficial for you in general, but especially right now. Moving on to the next card I got for you, which is the Wheel of Fortune. And this card represents a major change, a big opportunity. It's a card of luck and winning and taking chance. So, seeing this next to the Queen of Pentacles, I think once you have kind of thought about your different options and sort of started weighing out, what it is you could do or what you could move towards. This card tells me that the decision you make is going to be sound and that you will be successful in making that decision and that you shouldn't second guess yourself. I think this is a really big, strong, major arcana card, and it tells me that that you'll make the right decision. And I can't tell you what the right decision is for you. That's not really what the cards are about. It's more just about messages, channeled messages, to kind of try and give you guidance and offer you insight into the right direction. So this card is definitely a card of success. So I feel like when you do decide, it's going to be the right choice that you make. To me, overall, it feels like I said, being close with your family is really the big draw that I'm feeling right now. And I don't know if making a big move at this point is a great idea, but also I think moving closer to where your family is, that feels like something that is definitely speaking to me for you throughout this reading. Next, I get the King of Swords. To me, the King of Swords in reverse, the card was in reverse, so I am going to be reading the reversal of this card. And this is sort of representing an opinionated man who is sort of overstepping his bounds. This is a card that symbolizes protecting yourself. When I see this card in reverse, it means that you need to be careful and that there could be some dishonesty happening. And I don't know this person that you have been kind of seeing and hooking up with, but I feel like this card was sort of representing that person. And it sort of made me think that you should be careful. Because I don't get a great energy from this card when I see it in reverse. And so I'm not saying that this is a bad person by any means, but I'm also seeing and sensing that this is not the right person for you. And that maybe it's right for right now and for this kind of filling that void of needing intimacy and needing connection and deserving of love. But it feels to me like this isn't your person. And I think you already knew that and could sense that. But like you were saying, don't get caught up in, trying to start a relationship with this person simply because it's easy or simply because it's what is happening and what is good for you right now. Because I'm not sure if that's going to be something that is going to be good in the long run. And also, just kind of be careful when listening to the things he says, because, like I said, it's a card of dishonesty and a card of sort of keeping your heart protected and setting your boundaries good. So keep that in mind when dealing with that person in particular. The next card I got for you is the World. And so this card is representatory of an ending of a cycle. It's sort of a really big shift that's going to be happening. And this card represents the pause, the waiting, and the sort of like thinking things over. But it's also a card of achievement and fulfillment. So when I see this card, especially with the Wheel of Fortune that was up above, it does tell me that you're moving towards a big change and that it's going to be the right change. So really think about your options and like I said, don't second guess yourself, okay? Because once you have it figured out and once you realize, am I going to change careers? Am I going to move? I think that would all be something that happens at once. And so I think with moving back home, you would be fulfilling this part of yourself that needs to be close to your family and wants to be nurturing and wants to be there to care for your people in this prime time in their life. Um, so it feels like, I know I said I wasn't going to tell you like the answer of if you should move back or not, but I'm getting this huge pull that maybe your heart isn't in it in Michigan, you know? Maybe moving back would be sort of the fix all sort of thing where it's like, okay, I'm not jumping into some relationship with someone that I sort of am just feeling like I want to be around right now because of what's going on. I'm also feeling that need to go back home and to be with my people. And I'm also opening up this new window of opportunity for all these different careers and all these different jobs that I would have in this different place. So yeah, that was that. And the next card I got for you is the Devil in reverse. So when I see the Devil in reverse, I see a release. I see a sort of letting go of beliefs and ideas and ideals that have been limiting you. So this card also is a reminder to not be afraid to explore the dark and the deep thoughts and the dark and the deep parts of your conscious, because those parts of you are just as important as the light and the nice and the bright energy. So I think this is a card that tells me that you need to remain a little bit detached right now. You need to kind of think about things logically instead of emotionally. And the Devil in reverse also just tells me that, you know, you have to sort of think about every aspect of things. And you have to sort of think about the bad things that could happen if you were to move, or the bad things that could happen if you were to stay, you know? I think I don't want to make this like a guilt trip, but I feel like personally, and even for you, what it feels like is if something bad were to happen to your parents, God forbid, you would feel really bad and really guilty and regretful if you weren't close by. And so I think it would be good planning, and it would be a really responsible and smart and caring thing to do if you were to sort of move closer to them, and you know, that would be kind of a symbol of like, you guys raised me and you guys were here for me and now I'm here for you. So yeah, that's kind of what I saw there with that. The next card I got for you is the Five of Cups. And to me, the Five of Cups is sort of about a loss and about mourning and sort of having this pessimistic outlook and sort of not feeling like you're making any breakthroughs. It also symbolizes hardship and kind of going through a lot. So it feels to me like lately you've really been struggling and you've really been having this kind of hard time. And I think that when I see this card, I like to think that better times are ahead. But you have to face these darknesses, and you have to face these sort of demons that you are fighting with head on. And like the Devil in reverse says, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to look at these dark aspects and these shadow portions of ourselves and of our lives. Because that's the only way we're going to make breakthroughs, and the only way that we're going to move forward is by facing those things head on. The next card I got for you is the Hierophant, and it's also reversed. So this is a card to me that is sort of like a rejection of, you know, typical societal standards and values. So it might symbolize making moves towards doing things your own way, in a sense of, you know, not thinking about what others want from you, not thinking about what can I do that other people will be impressed with, or what can I do that other people will think is awesome, and really just looking at yourself and what you want, and thinking about what's going to make you feel good and what's going to make you feel successful. And this card sort of felt like it was, you know, thinking about your career, and, you know, you saying that you were doing some sort of construction stuff right now, and I don't know much about what it is you're really doing, but this card to me felt like it wanted you to consider other options that maybe are a little less a little less socially acceptable. So if there's something that you like to do, that you think is awesome, that you're passionate about, that you're drawn towards, this card tells me that you should reject all of these ideas and all of these kind of opinions that this isn't the right thing for you, and sort of really think about what you love and what you want to move towards. This is a card that says other people's opinions don't matter. And really it's all about, at the end of the day, what you want. Next I got the Nine of Swords. And so the Nine of Swords is a lot of anxiety and worry and fear and depression, and it could mean that you've been having nightmares, and it just tells me that mentally right now you're in kind of a scary place, and you're sort of worrying a lot about the decisions that you have to make. And so, like I said before, I think making lists and sort of weighing out pros and cons can be really, really helpful. But this card to me is a card of struggle, and so it tells me that you really have been going through a lot, and that, you know, all these things that you're thinking about and going through have not been easy for you. And so I'm really sorry to see this card show up, and I'm really sorry that you're going through that. But I think with the next card I got with it, the Six of Cups, this just tells me that you've been revisiting a lot of past memories. You've been feeling a lot of nostalgia, and you've been sort of thinking about your childhood and thinking about your youth. And I think this goes to show a lot about your kind of big thoughts on moving back home. And a lot of this reading sort of felt like you miss certain aspects of that, and you miss being closer to your family. And, you know, you might have a great life made for yourself right now in Michigan, but it sort of feels like there is this big pull for you to get back to the East Coast. And I can't say for sure whether or not you should do that. But I can say that there's a lot of nostalgia, and there's a lot of energy that's sort of pointing towards your desire to go back home, and your desire to be close to your people and your family again. And I think a change of scenery is always well in order. I've moved around quite a lot, and I know this isn't about me, but just kind of personal connection here. I think kind of when you're feeling so up in the air and sort of feeling like you're not sure what's next or what you should do, I think moving around can be really helpful. I drew a couple more cards for you here. And so I have the Six of Pentacles, which tells me a lot about balance. And so I think with the rest of the reading, this really goes to show that doing the list and sort of mapping out what your plan is going to be your best route. But also thinking about it in a sense of what's the balanced thing to do? What's the logical thing to do? You know, I think it's really easy for us to make decisions based on emotions sometimes, and this card really is a reminder to sort of stay balanced and stay grounded, and kind of just think about what it is you really want for yourself. And I got the Star card here, which the Star card, I really do love this card. Oh, oops. It just flew out of my hands there. That was kind of weird. So the Star is sort of like a little bit of mystery and a little bit of, you know, illusion, but really it's a card of kind of magic and of hope. And so it really tells me that you're moving towards making the right decisions, and you're moving in the right direction, in a sense of, you know, you're getting clear in your head, and you're really thinking you know, about all of your different options and sort of weighing those different options. And I think that I think you have a lot of big decisions on your hands. And I wish that I could give you some more, you know, specific answers, like, yes, you should move back home. But it to me really feels like that could be the right thing for you right now. And it also really feels like I said, that would open up a lot of different opportunities for you relationship-wise, and it would open up a lot of different opportunities for you career-wise, and I think it feels a little bit like you're at this sort of point of stagnation, and sort of just wondering, what is next for me? Um, so I would, if I were you, just really kind of weigh out the pros and the cons, like I said, and just sort of think about what's going to be best for you in the long run, and what's going to be best for your family. And I did get a really big sense of nostalgia from the reading, so it really does feel like, to me, it does sort of feel like there's a really big pull for you to get back to the East Coast. So yeah, that's all I have for you tonight. But I am available to talk, or if you have any questions, or if you'd like me to use a different deck. I use the Aquarian deck for you. It's kind of my go-to. But I have many decks, and if there's anything more specific, even just about this reading, that you would like to clarify, I'm here, so let me know. And I hope that you found that a little bit informational and a little bit helpful, at least. So thank you so much, and I hope this video finds you well. Thank you, Kelsey.